The internet didn't just glitch today, besties. It was thoroughly, aggressively, and systematically scorched to absolute cinders. Right now, as we speak, servers across TikTok, X, and YouTube are suffering a complete digital catastrophe. And it all traces back to 5 words that no human, and I mean absolutely no human, saw coming. Michael B. Jordan. Hotel leak. Picture sitting at home, minding your own business, scrolling through your feed, only to trip over a grainy, heart-stopping hotel surveillance clip that demolishes a Hollywood dynasty in under 30 seconds. We are dissecting room 609, a room that has officially become the most toxic coordinates in pop culture history. But glue yourselves down because the puppet master who allegedly pulled the trigger on this apocalyptic drop is none other than the industry's ultimate truth terrorist and professional bridge burner, Katt Williams. Yes, your ears work perfectly. Katt Williams just stepped into the chat, lobbed a literal emotional explosive, and sauntered away smirking. The visuals are chilling, but it's the audio track that will give you actual goosebumps. Deep in the shadows of that suite, a voice sounding unmistakably like Katt's whispers with icy, calculated precision, "Smile, Michael. The world will adore this version of you." And where was Harvey while her entire universe was being violently flipped upside down? She was live on air hosting her evening show. The lenses captured the exact agonizing microsecond her heart fractured into a million pieces. From initial confusion to pure unadulterated devastation, she whimpered, "This is the man I protected, and he traded my soul for ratings." Was this a basic case of a Hollywood romance crashing out? Or are we staring at the most strategic, merciless, and flawlessly executed corporate assassination the entertainment machine has ever witnessed? Snatch your popcorn, bolt your doors, and maximize your volume because we are plunging deep into the dark, twisted rabbit hole of how Harvey lost absolutely everything in under 24 hours. The madness didn't just freeze with that live stream, you guys. The second Harvey snatched off a microphone and the studio lights went totally black, the entire entertainment matrix spiraled into a state of pure unadulterated panic. We are talking about a flawlessly timed, highly weaponized PR execution that was specifically engineered to ensure she could never ever recover. To really digest the weight of this horror, we must analyze who is actually plotting at this table of betrayal. We have Michael B. Jordan, the golden boy of Hollywood. A man whose entire brand is marketed on being the charming, respectable, and deeply loyal partner. For years, the public worshipped him and Lori as the ultimate template of a modern power couple. She shielded him against every single rumor, every blind item, and every critic who claimed their relationship was just a manufactured publicity stunt. She granted him access to her elite social circles, her family's massive media leverage, and a level of cultural validation that money simply cannot buy. And how does he reward her? By allegedly booking a hidden suite at a high-end luxury hotel, strutting in with a locked briefcase, and sitting down for a meeting that resembles a corporate mob transaction rather than a romantic getaway. But obviously, a Hollywood golden boy doesn't just transition into a calculated villain overnight without a mastermind pulling the cables from the dark. Cue Katt Williams. This is a man who has made it his absolute life mission to incinerate every single fake empire in the entertainment industry. He is the ultimate wild card. A ghost who fears absolutely no one. No studio executive, no billionaire producer, and definitely no celebrity power couple. When Katt Williams went on that legendary podcast run earlier this year and swore that a judgment was coming for Hollywood's elite, we all assumed he was just talking trash for engagement. We thought he was just an eccentric comic blowing off steam because he was bored. Nobody realized he was lounging on a mountain of hard evidence, waiting for the exact psychological millisecond to detonate the nuclear bomb. By leaking this specific footage of Michael B. Jordan, Katt didn't just expose a secret. He triggered a full-scale corporate execution. He knew exactly what he was doing by timing the release to synchronize perfectly with Lori's live television broadcast. He wanted the world to spectate her psychological collapse in real time, ensuring that her raw, unedited trauma would become a permanent, unerasable viral monument. But let's be totally authentic for a second, because the plot thickens to a point where it almost replicates a Hollywood psychological thriller. The real kicker, the absolute jaw-dropping twist that mutated this from a messy celebrity breakup into a dark industry conspiracy is the identity of the mysterious woman lounging across from Michael B. Jordan in room 609. When the grainy surveillance footage first invaded X and TikTok, internet detectives spent hours adjusting the brightness, zooming into the shadows, and diagnosing the reflection in the wine glasses. And when the final high-definition enhancement dropped, the collective gasp of the web could be heard from New York to Los Angeles. It wasn't some random Instagram model. It wasn't an aspiring starlet looking for a handout. It was Lydia Hearst. Let that register for a moment. Lydia Hearst, an absolute icon of industry power, a creative genius, and more critically, a woman who has shared spaces, resources, and deep industry secrets with Harvey for years. We are talking about the ultimate definitive backstab. Glimpsing Lydia Hearst sitting in that dimly lit room looking completely comfortable, completely relaxed, and utterly unbothered shifted the entire narrative within seconds. This wasn't a sudden impulsive blunder engineered by Michael B. Jordan on a random Tuesday night. Lydia Hearst wasn't just lurking there as a romantic partner, though. The way she was interacting with Michael, the way her eyes were glued to the document spread across that table proved that this meeting was about something much larger, much darker, and infinitely more dangerous than a simple Hollywood affair. If you look closely at the leaked footage, Michael B. Jordan isn't acting like a man who is caught up in the passion of a secret romance. He looks like a businessman delivering an asset. He slides a sleek black briefcase across the table toward Lydia Hearst. And this isn't just any briefcase. Sources close to Laurie's production team have already confirmed that this exact briefcase had been reported missing from Laurie's private home office just 2 weeks prior to the leak. Inside that case weren't love letters or expensive jewelry. It reportedly contained highly confidential network documents, unreleased intellectual property, private financial audits of Harvey's media empire, and personal emails that detailed sensitive legal negotiations between Laurie and major television executives. Michael B. Jordan literally plundered the home of the woman he claimed to love, stole her most valuable professional assets, and delivered them directly into the hands of Lydia Hearst on a silver platter. The presence of Katt Williams' voice in that recording is what ties this entire sinister web together. He wasn't just a passive observer who happened to stumble upon the tape and decide to post it for internet clout. The chilling tone of his voice saying, "Smile, Michael. The world will love this version of you," implies a level of directorial control. It sounds like Katt was either physically in the room standing just outside the door or monitoring a live feed of the entire encounter. He was acting as the orchestrator, the man ensuring that every single piece of evidence was captured with absolute forensic precision. Katt knew that if he just leaked a rumor, the public would dismiss it. If he just leaked an audio clip, Michael's PR team would claim it was artificial intelligence or a deepfake designed to ruin his career. But by capturing Michael B. Jordan, Lydia Hearst, and the stolen corporate documents all in one frame, Katt created an undeniable airtight trap that no high-priced Hollywood lawyer could ever wiggle out of. What makes this entire situation so incredibly sickening is the sheer history of loyalty that Harvey possessed for both of these individuals. She didn't just date Michael B. Jordan. She shielded him from the vulture-like nature of the paparazzi. She utilized her extensive family legacy, her connections with major networks, and her pristine public image to elevate him from a standard A-list actor into a legitimate cultural mogul. Whenever the blogs tried to paint him as arrogant, distant, or disingenuous, Laurie was the first to step onto a red carpet, hold his hand, and give an interview praising his character. She put her own hard-earned reputation on the line to validate his place in the industry. And Lydia Hearst was someone Laurie considered a sister in a cutthroat business where real friendships are almost impossible to find. They shared styling teams, they coordinated business strategies, and they constantly supported each other's entrepreneurial ventures. To find out that the two people you trusted with your deepest vulnerabilities were actively meeting in room 609 to orchestrate your professional execution is a level of psychological warfare that would break the strongest person on earth. And break she did right in front of millions of people. When that notification dropped, Laurie was in the middle of a high-stakes live television broadcast for her evening show. She was sitting under the bright studio lights talking about empowerment, success, and navigating the entertainment industry, completely oblivious to the fact that her entire reality had just been liquidated online. The viral clip of her producer walking onto the set, trembling and whispering into her earpiece will be studied by pop culture historians for decades. You can literally see the exact moment the color drains from her face. You can see her eyes widen in absolute horror as the studio monitors behind the cameras begin flashing the breaking news headlines. Her voice, usually so poised, so controlled, and so articulate, completely gave out when she whispered those final devastating words. "This is the man I defended and he sold my soul for ratings." She wasn't just talking about a boyfriend cheating. She was realizing in real time that her entire life, her entire career, and her entire sense of security had been turned into a public circus for the amusement of her worst enemies. The aftermath in the studio was absolute pandemonium. The moment Laurie ripped off her microphone and stormed off the set, the network executive panic buttons were pressed simultaneously across multiple continents. The live feed was cut so fast that viewers at home were left staring at a black screen with a looping technical difficulties message for over 20 minutes. But the damage wasn't just done. It was permanently cemented into the digital ecosystem. Within 60 seconds of the feed cutting, the clip of Lori's live emotional breakdown had been downloaded, clipped, and re-uploaded over 50,000 times across X and TikTok. The comment sections didn't just erupt. They became a toxic wasteland of speculation, cruelty, and shock. Half the internet was in a state of deep mourning for Lori, expressing absolute disgust at Michael and Lydia Hearst's monstrous behavior, while the other half, the trolls, the cynics, and the haters who always wanted to see Lori fail, began celebrating, claiming that her downfall was the ultimate form of cosmic karma. But while the internet was busy fighting over who was right and who was wrong, the corporate machinery behind the scenes was moving with terrifying speed to erase Lori Harvey from existence. By the time the sun began to rise the next morning, the financial fallout of Room 609 started hitting hard. Elite corporate sponsors, brands that had signed multi-million-dollar endorsement deals with Lori based entirely on her pristine, drama-free branding, began dropping public statements distancing themselves from her. They didn't care that she was the victim of a malicious setup. They didn't care that her heart had been shattered on live television. In the cold, ruthless world of corporate media, controversy is a virus, and Lori was suddenly patient zero. One by one, beauty brands, fashion houses, and lifestyle conglomerates pulled their advertisements, cancelled upcoming campaigns, and scrubbed her face from their layouts. In under 12 hours, her net worth took a catastrophic hit, proving that the snakes in that hotel suite didn't just want to break her heart, they wanted to completely bankrupt her empire. Then came the official press release from the television network itself, acting as the final nail in the coffin for her professional life. The statement was brief, freezing, and utterly devoid of empathy. It stated that due to the ongoing public controversy, intense social media scrutiny, and potential legal entanglement surrounding the stolen data, the Lori Harvey evening show was being suspended indefinitely, effective immediately, pending a comprehensive internal investigation. They didn't even have the decency to call her into an office to say it to her face. They didn't offer her temporary leave of absence to process her trauma. They simply put out a digital notice and locked her out of the building. The network executives, the very people who spent months begging her to sign contracts, the people who worshipped her ratings and called her the future of media, abandoned her the absolute second things got chaotic. She was completely erased from her own network, sitting in her empty home, surrounded by flashing paparazzi lights outside her windows, watching her entire life's work vanish into thin air while the internet continued to feast on her public humiliation. The silence inside Lori Harvey's mansion that morning was heavier than any funeral. But outside, the atmosphere was a chaotic circus of strobe lights and screaming reporters. Paparazzi had set up base camps on her lawn, pointing massive zoom lenses at every window, hoping to catch a single glimpse of the fallen star. News vans lined the streets, their engines idling as anchors broadcasted live updates every 15 minutes, treating her personal devastation like a sports event. Every major gossip blog, every mainstream news channel, and every daytime talk show had her name flashing on the screen in bright red letters. The world wasn't just talking about her anymore. They were dissecting her, analyzing the exact mechanics of her public downfall with a sense of morbid curiosity. Lori stood in the middle of her living room, the blinds drawn tight, clutching her phone with a trembling grip as she replayed the Room 609 video for what felt like the 1,000th time. She wasn't looking at Michael B. Jordan's face anymore, nor was she focusing on Lydia Hearst's smug posture. She was listening to the breathing in the background, trying to decode the invisible hands that pushed her off the cliff just as the public discourse reached a fever pitch. The digital matrix shook once again when a prominent online whistleblowing platform announced the arrival of a second leak. This wasn't a re-upload or an extended version of the first clip. It was an entirely different angle captured by a hidden camera position directly across the hallway from Room 609. The footage showed the moments leading up to the meeting, providing an undeniable forensic timeline that destroyed any remaining doubts about premeditation. In this new clip, Michael B. Jordan can be seen walking down the dimly lit hotel corridor, looking over his shoulder nervously before entering the suite with a heavy black briefcase. The internet immediately recognized that specific briefcase because it had been featured in several of Lori's behind-the-scenes office vlogs just a month prior. This secondary angle proved that Michael hadn't just accidentally stumbled into a corporate trap. He had actively executed a planned burglary from the woman he claimed to love, carrying her intellectual property through a hotel hallway like a thief in the night. The secondary angle also captured something even more sinister that sent shockwaves through Hollywood's legal circles. About 10 minutes after Michael entered the room, a high-level media executive known for managing some of the biggest television networks in the country was seen walking down the same hallway, accompanied by Katt Williams. The executive wasn't hiding his face. He looked confident, holding a folder of papers and talking closely with Katt before they both entered Room 609. This single piece of visual evidence changed the entire nature of the scandal from a messy romantic betrayal into a high-stakes case of corporate espionage. It became crystal clear to every legal analyst on television that Lori Harvey's show wasn't suspended because of public controversy. Lori spent 48 hours straight decoding the digital routing scripts of the original video file, hunting for the exact IP address that launched the bomb onto the web, and what she uncovered would provide the exact ammunition she required to execute the most devastating counterstrike the entertainment industry has ever witnessed, setting the stage for a digital resurrection that would completely rewrite the playbook of celebrity warfare. This counterstrike launched on a quiet Thursday evening just as the internet was starting to grow exhausted by the repetitive analysis clips regarding Lori Harvey's downfall. The major gossip outlets were busy drafting think pieces about who would replace her on her late-night slot, assuming she was totally out of the equation. Suddenly, a notification detonated across millions of smartphones simultaneously as an unannounced post materialized on Lori's official verified social media networks. There was no long emotional monologue, no corporate PR statement drafted by high-priced attorneys, and absolutely zero trending hashtags to manipulate the algorithm. It was simply a black screen with a static countdown clock ticking down from 10 seconds. The moment the clock hit 0, a distorted, pitch-dropped audio file began broadcasting over a visual of scrolling digital script. A voice that sounded mechanically corrupted but entirely legible filled the speakers of millions of users, announcing with freezing composure that the public had watched a carefully manufactured illusion. But now it was time to witness the unedited reality. The footage that followed the countdown didn't feature Lori weeping or begging for sympathy. Instead, it cut directly to a crisp high-definition recording captured inside a parked vehicle outside that very same hotel on the evening of the original leak. The lens was aimed at a side exit where Katt Williams was clearly recognizable, standing next to a professional cameraman who was adjusting a massive live-streaming rig. The audio track was incredibly sharp, capturing Katt as he checked his watch and leaned toward the cameraman, instructing him to ensure that Lori was completely live on air the exact millisecond the file dropped. Katt could be heard snickering, stating he wanted to guarantee her psychological breaking point materialized on camera for maximum viral impact. The internet completely lost its collective mind within 60 seconds of this upload as the viral velocity shifted so rapidly it caused an actual malfunction in the trending topics algorithm on X. Within an hour, the digital matrix underwent a massive unprecedented transformation as the hashtags completely inverted from mocking Lori to demanding absolute corporate accountability. The public that spent the last 3 days crucifying Lori was now drowned in intense guilt and explosive fury directed toward Katt Williams and Michael B. Jordan. Compilations of the new footage spread like wildfire across TikTok, with creators pointing out that this wasn't an organic leak of a cheating scandal, but a malicious premeditated psychological execution of a woman while she was doing her job. The phrase "Justice for Lori" captured the #1 global trending spot, racking up over 2 million uploads in under 2 hours. Mainstream news outlets, which had been preparing segments on Lori's career termination, suddenly froze their scheduled programming to broadcast live breakdowns of the new footage, realizing that they had been utilized as pawns in a massive media hit job. Katt Williams tried to launch an immediate damage control offensive, taking to his personal livestream to claim that the footage Lori posted was an artificial intelligence deepfake engineered to frame him. He argued that his voice had been cloned by advanced software and that the digital forensics of the clip wouldn't hold up in a court of law. However, his defense was completely obliterated within 2 hours when a consortium of independent digital verification specialists published an exhaustive analysis of the video's metadata. They verified that the file contained authentic unedited cryptographic signatures that were impossible to replicate with current AI technology. The facade had officially fractured and the public wasn't buying the comedy routine anymore. They demanded real answers about who was financing Katt to orchestrate such a devastating personal ambush. The real nuclear bomb detonated at midnight when an anonymous whistleblower using an encrypted server based in Switzerland leaked a massive digital repository to top investigative reporters across the globe. This archive contained a series of high-level email chains, financial wire logs, and encrypted chat histories between Michael B. Jordan, Katt Williams, and the CEO of a rival media conglomerate. The communications dated back over 8 months, exposing a highly strategic paid corporate campaign specifically engineered to annihilate Lori's personal credibility. The evidence revealed that Lori's evening show was on the verge of acquiring an independent investigative news network that was preparing to expose a massive financial money laundering ring involving multiple top-tier Hollywood power players, including the ones financing Michael's upcoming film projects. The corporate sabotage uncovered in these leaked messages was so deep it read like a white-collar crime thriller. The text showed Michael B. Jordan explicitly agreeing to utilize his romantic access to Lori's home to locate and plunder the confidential legal dossier she had compiled on these executives. Lydia Hearst's role was also laid bare in the financial ledgers, which exposed a wire transfer of over $4 million to a shell corporation registered under her name just 48 hours before the hotel rendezvous in room 609. Lydia Hearst wasn't just having an affair with Michael. She was being bankrolled by the rival network to review the stolen documents in that hotel suite and verify that Laurie's investigative division hadn't already dispatched copies to federal prosecutors. The romantic affair was merely a convenient cover story they utilized so that if they were compromised, the media would frame it as a messy love triangle instead of a major federal corporate conspiracy. The following evening, Lori Harvey broke her silence completely by launching an unannounced, raw live broadcast from an undisclosed location. She wore no cosmetic makeup. Her eyes were exhausted and hollow from days of psychological warfare, but her posture was straight and her tone was sharp enough to slice glass. She stared directly into the lens, watching the live viewer metric explode past 5 million people within 3 minutes. She stated that they labeled her dramatic, they labeled her delusional, and they told the world she was a bitter woman losing her mind over a split. She leaned forward, her voice cracking slightly but remaining incredibly steady as she told her audience that her only real transgression was trusting the people who ate at her table while they were actively calculating how much her soul was worth to a competitor network. Lori didn't just discuss her trauma. She displayed the legal receipts on screen for the entire world to read. She showcased the official federal filing documentation proving that she had submitted the leaked email repositories to the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Department of Justice earlier that afternoon. She looked into the camera and dispatched a direct warning to Michael B. Jordan and Lydia Hearst, telling them that they wanted to transform her life into a scripted television production for ratings, but they forgot that she owns the production company. She concluded the broadcast by stating that the script had officially changed and she was seizing back her narrative before abruptly cutting the signal and leaving the internet in a state of absolute awe. The public reaction to her live broadcast was nothing short of a digital resurrection as public sympathy swung back in her favor with an intensity that Hollywood had never witnessed before. Major streaming platforms immediately began bidding for the rights to produce a multi-part documentary series about the corporate sabotage plot, with production studios offering Lori complete creative control and millions of dollars to present her side of the story. The corporations that had dropped her 24 hours prior began frantically broadcasting public apologies, claiming they had been misled by the initial reports and offering to double her original contract figures to win her back. Her television network released a panicked statement retracting her suspension, offering her a public apology, and promising her an executive producer status if she agreed to return to her evening slot. But just as the world was celebrating Lori's massive triumph and preparing for the downfall of her enemies, the timeline took one final terrifying twist that left everyone completely paralyzed. At exactly 3 o'clock in the morning, a ghost account on X uploaded a final 15-second video clip that had been recorded by Michael B. Jordan just hours before he completely went missing from the public eye. The footage was shot in a dark moving vehicle with the streetlights casting eerie shadows across Michael's face. He appeared completely drained, his eyes bloodshot, and he wasn't looking at the lens with his usual Hollywood charm. He stared directly into the camera, breathed heavily, and uttered one final chilling sentence that threw the entire narrative back into absolute chaos. "You all think she won, but you don't know what she did to get there. She's next." The frame immediately cut to black, and within seconds, the ghost account was completely wiped from the platform, leaving zero trace of who executed the upload. The internet sat in a collective stunned silence as the clip was distributed across every forum, shattering the clean conclusion everyone had just celebrated. The lines between who was the true victim and who was the true villain became entirely blurred once again, leaving millions of viewers frantically refreshing their feeds. As the sun began to rise on a new day of intense speculation, the world had to accept one terrifying truth about this Hollywood war. In a game played at this level of leverage and deception, nobody is truly innocent and the real destruction is only just beginning. And that, everyone, is where the digital matrix completely fractures. We started this week assuming we were watching a messy celebrity cheating scandal, and we are ending it standing at the edge of a massive federal corporate conspiracy that reaches all the way to the apex of Hollywood's elite power systems. Michael B. Jordan is currently missing. Lydia Hearst's legal team has completely locked down her profiles. Katt Williams is facing an existential crisis over his digital footprint, and Lori Harvey is holding the keys to a kingdom that might incinerate the entire industry to the ground. Let me know your thoughts on that final ominous warning from Michael B. Jordan. Is Lori Harvey truly the innocent mastermind who just dismantled a corporate mafia, or is Michael telling the truth? Does Lori hide an even darker secret that is about to leak next? Drop your wildest theories in the comments section below because you already know I am reviewing every single one of them. If you want to outpace the narrative and discover exactly what happens when the next leak drops, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and activate your notifications. Do not blink because in this game, the truth changes with every single refresh. Keep watching, stay skeptical, and I will catch you guys in the next breaking update.